Hi, everybody. Leslie M. Thornton, Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. Today, we are talking about the topic of loving yourself. Is that real or is it cliche to love yourself? So, when I first started my business, I had a tagline and it was called Love Yourself to Freedom. That's what it said. Okay. And it can seem kind of cliche, right? It's just like, oh, love yourself. I was just talking to someone on a call last week and they were like, oh, I see all the things on Instagram saying, love yourself, all this kind of stuff. And she was like, on one hand, I totally understand that. And I feel like I want to be able to love myself. On the other hand, I feel like, like gag myself. What do you mean love myself? What does that even mean? How can I even do that? Right. And I'm sure some of you out there are listening and saying you feel the exact same way. So, what does it actually mean to love yourself, and what does it have to do with permanent weight loss? Well, first thing I want to say about loving yourself is that it really is a commitment to, number one, knowing yourself, and number two, having the desire to even take care of yourself. All right. So, most of us that I talk to who are on a permanent weight loss journey, the reason why we got into this situation in the first place, a lot of us are caregivers. Okay, like we're caring about other people. We are affected by other people's emotions. We have a service job or we have a family, right? And somewhere along the way, we kind of took on the responsibility of it's my responsibility to take care of others, put myself in the background. All right. And while there's such beautiful things about that, obviously I'm a nurse by trade, so I fall into this category. And I was also a middle child, so I took on being the person, the savior of the family, even though that was not necessarily given to me. I gave it to myself. I talk to people all the time who are in that same boat. It's really kind of understanding that because we have that automatically programmed in ourselves to take care of others, it's going to be a challenging habit to start taking care of yourself. Okay. So, it may look like you just having no energy at the end of the day to, right, do your workout or to finish those things that you want to do that are just kind of hanging over you all the time. And a way of procrastination is to eat to prevent yourself from having to do those things that you feel uncomfortable about, right? That's just one example of the way that it could look. All right. And so it feels impossible, especially when you have all of emotional stuff, right? Or months and months, or maybe even years and years of kind of building up this pattern of not being able to trust yourself because you're not taking action on yourself, because you're telling yourself every day, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm going to go for a walk, or, and then you don't do it. Right? Or I'm going to start, cooking every night and I'm going to be making all these meals, right? And then what happens? It doesn't happen. Okay? And what happens in the subconscious mind when you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't actually do it is you start to lose that trust. Okay? That same person that I was talking about that I spoke to on Saturday, right? She was saying that she was losing hope. She was completely losing hope. Okay? And what we identified for her was the fact that every time that she had done a diet attempt in the past, she was doing it for somebody else. She was doing it because her family was concerned about her weight. She was doing it because she thought that in order to get a boyfriend and later get married, that she had to lose the weight first, that no one could be attracted to her when she had that weight, right? And I see this all the time where we are taking these actions driven by somebody else's wants and desires, right? Because we feel guilt or we feel bad or we feel like if we don't do it, then, something bad's going to happen, right? Maybe we're going to get so obese that nobody's going to love us anymore. We're going to be abandoned, right? Or you're going to, whatever that worst case scenario is for you. I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to be, right? Our subconscious job is to keep us safe. And it actually is fearful, right? That we're going to actually end up in a dire death type of situation if we don't make a change. Okay, now the difference is that most of the time, every diet that you've done in the past, you've done it because you've hit some sort of rock bottom and you got so scared that you signed up for that program. Okay, and it's normal to a certain extent. Human beings, stress and, making decisions from a place of wanting to get better. It's always a great thing. Okay, but when you are doing something, right, because you hate yourself and because you are so scared that one of those worst case scenario things is going to happen to you if you don't lose the weight fast, then sure, you'll be on the train for a little while until you fall off again. And guess who's there to say hi? That same inner critic and inner dialogue that has been holding you back from having lifetime and long term success. It's the thing that separates you from having a normal relationship with food and being able to eat to live, or live to eat rather than eat to live. Or you know what I mean? I said it backwards. Gives you that separation from that emotional attachment from food. And when we're at parties and stuff and you see other people, it's like, how are they able to just like have a piece of pizza and a huge piece of cake and they stay so small? Right? Well, it's because they're making empowered choices for themselves. They're not scared of food. They don't think of themselves as a failure. They're not super hard on themselves day to day. Right? They're not holding in their emotions. They're not trying to save the world every day by themselves. Okay, they probably have support. Maybe they have some kind of coaching container or some kind of support system that helps them through those things. Maybe they've already gotten past it. Maybe they have another demon in their closet and it's not food. Maybe they're closet smoking or they're, right? Because every human being has some things that causes them to do behaviors that they don't really love. All right. But the difference is that some of us are aware that the reason why we have the pain and struggle and suffering and we can't seem to get ourselves to lose the weight and keep it off is because of what you're believing in here. Okay. So in my program, there's no exercise plan. There's no nutrition program, because if that was the real issue, we wouldn't be having this kind of conversation today. Right? The kinds of conversations I have with people are so profound, and we are getting to the actual root reason why uniquely you, are still stuck with food and dieting and weight loss. Right? Maybe you believe that you're not good enough. Maybe you're scared of failure. Maybe you're afraid of putting yourself out there and being seen and vulnerable and visible. Right? Maybe you're afraid of abandonment because you had a challenging upbringing and you were abandoned as a child in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you are still experiencing a lot of grief from someone that you care about who just passed away, right? And you're trying to hold it in your body. And guess what? You can't. You have to be able to expel the energy that's stuck in your body in some way, shape, or form. And until we learn the tools that you learn here on how to actually let those emotions go and get yourself to a place where your mind slows down and you're actually relaxed. It feels like you're on vacation when you're not on vacation on a regular basis. I was just talking to a client this morning, and she actually took her vacation fund and put it into this program instead. And some people in her support system were like, oh, but you're going to miss your vacation. She was like, I would rather have these tools than a vacation. Because we talked about it and we kind of had a chuckle of like, it feels like you're on vacation any time of any day. You don't need a vacation when you're doing this stuff. And who here has gone on vacation and you're even more stressed out by the time we come back, and then you start in the same hamster wheel again and again. And I know most of us lately have not gotten a chance to go on vacation, but I'm sure you could remember something like that from the past, right? And something that's been a positive thing that's come out of this pandemic is the fact that you're now forced to face yourself, right? And there's no better opportunity than now to actually make that change. You're going to have to face those demons at some point. Right? I just wrote an email recently that was saying it's easy. It's not simple, but it's not easy, but it's simple, right? It's the work, when you practice it, it's really easy, but it feels, simple, all right? Or I'm messing that up back and forth, but you get what I'm saying. Okay. Now, on the topic of self-love, it's like to actually work on making it so that your mind is saying loving things to yourself on a day-to-day basis, it changes the entire way that you're feeling as you're going throughout your day, right? But if you're constantly saying to yourself, you're fat, oh my God, you can't fit into your pants, what's happening to you? You've really let yourself go. I can't believe you did it again. You failed over and over again, right? Like that is such a non-self-loving place. Okay. And then once we actually can shift you into a place where you are practicing on a day-to-day basis to forgive yourself, to love yourself, and to give yourself just that unconditional love to say, hey, it's okay that you messed up today. It's okay that you feel like you failed today or you feel like you're a failure. I want to let you know that I'm here for you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to keep you safe. right? And once you actually are practicing on a regular basis, the love in your life expands. Why? Because now you're actually showing up super present with your family and your friends, right? You're able to, or even at work, okay? You don't come from a place of needing something. There's not a part of you that is seeking to be accepted or loved or, right? Those are the main ones. Accepted and loved. And when you come to that place of, I don't need anything, right? I'm just here to be present and notice whatever comes to me that inspires me, or if I can help you at all, right? It changes the entire way that you feel as you're going in, and therefore the types of relationships that you have. Okay, because guess what? When we're talking about Valentine's Day and we're talking about self-love, right? It's like so many of us, we have these partners, but the partner that you have attracted or the partner that you have is balancing out the parts of you that are not complete. Okay, so if you have this belief that I'm unlovable, right, then this person's going to love you so much, but you've never learned how to love you, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just having awareness on how this relationship is in your life and what it brings to you and how it actually can actually hold you back. Because what would be possible if you did learn how to love yourself and you didn't need that external love to feel complete as a human being, right? What could be possible for you then, right? What kind of relationship could you attract, right? And, even if you're in a relationship and you're committed to that relationship, most of my people, well, I won't say most, everybody's in different relationship situations in my program. But, right, it's like if you're in one and you're committed, even your way of being, like all of a sudden, I was just talking to someone last week and every time she was feeling emotional and out of control of her emotions, she has a great supportive husband. She would say them out loud to him and, kind of create this whole thing. And he's, great with her and, stays with her and this kind of stuff. But she doesn't actually get anywhere. She doesn't actually feel better after it, right? And then she isolates herself and she eats and all of these kinds of behaviors, not her fault, right? Didn't know a better way to handle it than that. But then having the conversation, like, what would it be like if you didn't have to do that emotional dumping on your husband anymore? What would it be like if you could learn how to soothe yourself? Right? And she's like, wow, I think our relationship would completely get way better, right? Because he's no longer having to worry about you all day, every day, right? And for some of you, it's the opposite, where you actually need to learn how to let other people in on your emotions and know that you're safe to feel them and not be perfect all the time. Okay, so it's really a balance and it's different for every single person. But really understanding that, unless we're actually practicing this work, nothing changes. Okay, so it doesn't matter about what relationship you're in or what relationship you're not in. What matters is the relationship with you. Okay, so when it comes to the topic of love yourself, is it cliche or real? It's very, very real. But I think what's missing as people are talking about loving themselves are actually the tools that are used to support you in actually creating an unconditionally loving environment inside your own body, inside your own mind, and reflecting that back over and over again. It'll make it so that you do not need or want. And, what's being a human being if you don't need or want? Of course, there's going to be certain things that you can ask for, but it doesn't destroy your day if you don't get it, or you don't get emotionally upset when someone responds to you in a certain way and it's not the way that you like it, because you're just like, oh, maybe they're having a bad day. You're not taking it personally. There's nothing that you need from the outside. And guess what? That also translates over into there's nothing that you need on the outside, including food. Food stops numbing away the pain when you start doing this work, which can feel a little scary. You're kind of out there raw, like, well, what am I going to do if the food isn't actually fixing it anymore? Well, we're going to turn towards it. Okay, HeartMath is a research center that studies how emotions are actually vibrations and how they change the way and what we are attracting and what's happening in our lives. Okay, and if you're thinking negative thoughts, you're putting a slower vibration out there and you're attracting a slower vibration back. Right? If you're thinking really great thoughts and positive thoughts, right? High vibe, you're attracting other things and people and situations that are in that same plane. Right? So what is it that you can attract? What do you want to create in your life? right? But it starts by you learning how to do these tools. And there are practical tools. So being a nurse by trade, I worked in the ICU, I worked in kidney transplant. Like, I'm very tactical learner. Like, just tell me how to apply it and I'll make it happen, right? Because that's the fastest way for us to actually ingrain it. So you got to take the actions, you got to practice it, even if you're skeptical or saying, what the heck is this? I don't know if that's going to work. Why do I even need to practice these tools? Don't worry about it. Do them anyway and wait until you start having that shift like I had when all of a sudden I'm seeing a person, right, on Facebook, and normally I'd say, oh gosh, they're a bigger person and have a judgment about their body being big. And I was like, wow, look at that beautiful woman. She looks like she's having so much fun with her kids, right? And then that's a mirror into, like, if I'm able to accept her body and just celebrate her life, then now I know that I'm learning how to celebrate my life and accept my body. Right? Just we can expand out on what's possible for ourselves and who we can become and how much love we can create. Right? And some of the love stuff seems, again, cliche, airy-fairy. And I'm here to say that's absolutely not. A Course in Miracles talks about the difference between love-based actions and fear-based actions. And again, when you're coming from that fear place, I'm not good enough, I'm scared I'm going to gain weight, this bad thing's going to happen if I do, I'll never attract a mate if this happens, right? Then that's going to cause you to take actions that will not sustain you. That's why the diets don't work. So first we need to teach you how to get past those limiting beliefs and those negative thoughts that you're having about yourself. And once you get past that, you're training yourself to then think positive and happy and loving beliefs and thoughts. And then whatever actions you take from a peaceful place will bring you ultimate joy and happiness. And I want that for you if you want that. So when you're watching this, send us an email or send us a comment if you're watching this live on Facebook. How are you loving yourself every day? How do you want to take care of yourself? Do you have negative mental chatter that's getting in your way every day, saying you're not good enough, you're failing, all this kind of stuff? Are you a super high achiever and you achieve all these goals and you have all this success, but you don't have success in food? That's the reason why. Okay? We're not aware of your authentic truth. We haven't programmed your brain. Maybe your parents weren't able to love you when you were emotional, right? Or you just weren't given the kind of environment you needed growing up to be able to have this more peaceful way of being with yourself. And that's okay. It's not your fault. We're here to say that everybody has, things from their background that didn't work. Okay? It's lucky that we got to this point. But I say to people all the time, the only thing that's wrong with you is the belief that you think that there's something wrong with you. So we need to work on those beliefs that you think are, there's something wrong with me. I can't be fixed. I'm fundamentally broken. And again, forgive yourself for having that thought. Know that that thought's not who you are, and then change it into a loving belief. Okay? The relationships that you'll attract once you do this on a regular basis is unbelievable. The life that I get to live today. There is so much love in my life. But I am very aware that it's because I have turned towards the pain. Okay? When I was eating, cookies and milk all day, every day, it felt like just a lot, right? Talk about that when I was in India. I was not happy. Oh, hey, Jackie. Oh, so nice to see you. Yep. Good job. Yeah, really good. She's saying how she was working out the negative chatter this weekend, turned those thoughts into compassionate words of support to myself. Fantastic, Jackie. Congratulations. That's awesome. Okay, so there's always more things, that you can do, and just those little tweaks can make a big difference. Okay, and it's really scratching the surface of what's possible when we actually learn these emotional mastery tools. I have a woman in my program. She's graduating this morning, or I talked to her this morning. She's graduating very soon. And she just said to me, she was like, Leslie, the program that you have, she's like, it is life altering. She's like, I had absolutely no idea. And the way she described it, she was talking about how she realized that it was her inner child that was running the show, right? It was her little rebel that was trying to eat at nighttime because she was mad, that she had to be good all day, and that's a kickback from it, right? Sounds kind of strange, but like all of us have these parts of ourselves that are running the ship all day. Okay. Or, if you're not eating enough during your day, then your mind's saying, ooh, now it's party time at night, right? There's just all of these different, and it's so comprehensive and there's so much to dive into, right? And it starts by first not judging yourself. It starts by first loving yourself. Okay, that's number one rule when people start my program. You are not allowed to judge yourself. Okay, you have to just treat yourself like a science experiment and become aware of, that's interesting. How can I love myself even more? The fact that I'm still stuck. How is my food behavior trying to teach me something, trying to help me heal, trying to help me listen to the parts of myself that are still upset and unresolved? And how can I learn how to be the loving parent to those parts of myself so that I don't need to call mom every day, or I don't need to, right, seek that guidance or support anymore from outside sources, or talk to my husband, or feel sorry for myself, or cry by myself, or eat cookies all day. Like, whatever it is that you're doing, don't judge yourself. You're just doing the best you can with what you have, right? And there's so much more that you can learn. All right, so this Valentine's Day, I know I'm a little early on Facebook, but it'll probably come out right around there. I want to invite you to just love the crap out of yourself, right? And if you don't know how to do that, maybe Google it, find some ways that I can learn how to love myself better, have an amazing date for yourself. But I'm telling you, even beyond the actions you're taking, it's about the conversation you're having with yourself in your mind. And if that conversation is yucky, you're going to attract partners that also have a yucky conversation about you. And then that's when we're in abusive relationships or unfulfilling relationships, right? Your relationship, the closest one, is a direct mirror of your inner dialogue and what's happening with you. Okay? And I don't want that to cause you to lose hope, because you can heal. When you heal and you just focus on yourself, things change outside of you naturally, right? So my invitation, focus on you, okay? Learn how to do this stuff. If you haven't booked a call or you're still planning on signing up with us, keep working on getting that to happen. I talked to so many of you. I talked to 8 people last week, right? And I know, some of you had financial situations holding you back from saying yes. Don't let that story stop you. I'm telling you, right? I talked to so many people and they completely go into debt for this program and it comes back and they're so happy they did it, right? So don't delay your transformation, right? We can't afford you gaining any more weight or getting it sicker, or you don't know if you're going to be around tomorrow, and what, your mind being constantly spinning all the time, like the impact it's having on your children, right? On your family, on your significant other. It's huge. Okay? So don't delay, take that action, and love yourself. It's not a cliche. Work on the conversation happening in your mind, and we'll talk to you next week.